Well, hey, it's Jamie. That's me here. And welcome back to the channel, honey, and welcome back to another quick chat. Okay, today on the quick chat, got a few things I want to talk to y'all about. Definitely want to talk about Kevin Hart versus Tasha K. Also want to talk about British Williams and that baby daddy of hers. Honestly, we more so gonna be talking about Lorenzo than we really gonna be spending time talking about British. Okay, and then also we got to touch on Scott Peterson because ever since I learned that the Innocence Project, the LA Innocence Project, is supporting him, okay, and deciding to take on his case, girl, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of a bit tuned into this. And we'll get into the details of Scott Peterson for a lot of you guys that may not know. But before we get into that, go ahead, like up the video, okay? If you have not already done that, now is your time. So go ahead and hit that like button. It is one of the ways to support the channel. You can also support the channel by subscribing to the channel as well, okay? And you can also share the video. That's another way to support the channel. So we definitely appreciate all of the support over here on Jamie That's Me, okay? Period. But I want to go ahead and talk about Lorenzo real quick. Okay, because first of all, this is the ex boyfriend, fiance, whatever, to Miss British Williams. And for those of you guys that do not know, British Williams was recently sentenced to prison for roughly about 4 years. Now, she decided to plead guilty. I believe initially she said she wasn't guilty, but she ended up pleading guilty to maybe 15 different counts of fraud. I believe it was bank fraud, tax fraud, wire fraud, stealing people's social security numbers. It was a lot of stuff, taking pandemic funds, lying on documents and stuff. So it was a lot going on that led to British actually pleading guilty. I already told y'all, and for those of y'all that don't know, her original attorney, the first one she had, came out and drugged the hell out of her. Okay, because I guess she wasn't that great of a client and wasn't really listening. So she ended up going with a new person, and he was like, had she just listened to what he was saying and just stuck with him, he could have got her completely off to where she would have just been doing probation and no jail time. She decided to go with a different attorney, okay, which led to her actually getting jail time, prison time, which was up to 4 years, okay. I think that she was banking on not doing any prison time based on similar cases of women that owed even more money than what she did, and those people never saw inside of the prison at all. So I think that she thought things would be a bit different for her. No ma'am. Okay. So she ended up getting like 4 years in prison, right? She asked the judge to extend that time frame beyond Christmas because she wanted to spend time with her daughter. So the judge was like, okay, I'm gonna give you Christmas and New Year's, and you don't have to turn yourself in until a few days after New Year's, right? Well, that's what British was supposed to do, but she didn't necessarily do that. Instead of her showing up to prison or turning herself in, showing up on the day that she was supposed to, she decided that they were going to submit an appeal to the sentencing that was given to her in an effort to kind of like avoid going to prison right at that particular time. At least that's what I think she was doing. Then she tried to say it was another reason that she got caught up in as to why she couldn't be there. They do not care when you signed an agreement saying that you were going to show up on this particular day, girl. They don't care what other prior engagements you had tying yourself the hell up. They didn't give a fuck about none of that. So you should have showed up when you were supposed to show up. And see, you thought sending that appeal was going to be enough to, let you, slide. Absolutely not. So they went ahead, arrested her a few days later. Okay. So that's not looking good for you while you submitting this damn appeal, because to them it's looking like you trying to skip out on some shit, right? So they locked Miss British up. I believe the judge dismissed that appeal, and then the attorney was trying to work on some other stuff on her behalf, right? Well, if that wasn't enough tea about Miss British, girl, now we're learning that her ex Lorenzo Gordon is now, girl, it looks like he is being charged with some stuff. They're saying that Gordon is being charged with 3 counts of wire fraud and 1 count of theft of government property. Okay, they say the post did no. They said he is accused of lying on C-19 business relief applications about how long he had operated 2 businesses, how much money they made, and whether he was the sole owner of a janitorial company. Girl, let me tell you, the C-19 finna have so many people tied the hell up. And some people may not go to jail, right? But they're gonna be hitting people up in letters saying, hey, you owe us this money, right? So if you ain't going to jail, it's probably gonna be a letter saying, yo, run us that money back. We gonna need it back. Okay. Once they find out that, the business was fraud. That's crazy, right? I don't know if they're only doing this with people that received over a certain amount. I don't even know if it matters. They probably just going down their records and just seeing who's next on the list for us to investigate. Either way, good luck. Okay. Um, Let's see what else is are they saying about this. They're saying that the federal prosecutors are saying that Lorenzo collected nearly $273,000. Ooh, child. Now 273. Now see, let me tell you, that ain't as much as what Miss British took. It's not as much as what British took. So even though he's being charged with this, I mean, all the people that I've been hearing about, taking some of this C-19 money, they've been going to jail. All right, prison, whatever. They've been getting locked down. Now, as for him, I don't know. Maybe he could potentially be on probation and just pay that money back. Um, I'm not gonna say whether he should or should not go to prison, but what I will say is that I hate it for their daughter, because now that her mother is away, I hope whatever time or whatever consequences her father is going to have to face doesn't necessarily happen at the exact same time that her mom is locked up. Does that make sense? Whatever the results are. So I think they were on to Miss British around 2021, and then she got locked up in 2024. So, with him having his particular situation, and if he has to do any time, I would think by the time he's actually, this is an assumption, not a fact, I don't know, but I would want to believe that by the time, if he has to do any jail time, he would be going into jail as Miss British is preparing to come out. So that could be a reason for them to let her out a tad bit early. Right, because she's supposed to do like 4 years, I believe. So they may let her out in 3 years if he's expected to do time. I feel like they did that with another couple. Was that Teresa Judice? Where Teresa Judice had to serve some time after the baby daddy served his time? It was something like that. So maybe they'll do that in an effort for this little girl to not have to be, given to her grandparents, and for her to be able to, be with her parents. Okay. So hopefully they figure that out. But that's just what crossed my mind. Okay. Now they're saying, is there anything else that they're letting us know? They said he does not have a listed phone number, and it was not immediately clear if he had an attorney. Okay, so this is what they're saying. But British man, her baby daddy, girl, $273,000. And you better be glad that's all it is, because I think what got British tied up was her pandemic relief, and then they started to dive deeper into other things that she did, and that's how they came up with all of the money that they did come up with in those charges as well. So I think that's what really did her in ultimately. Okay, those are my thoughts. All right, but y'all leave y'all thoughts and comments down below or regarding the Lorenzo and the British situation, because that's all that I have at this time. Okay, so good luck. All right, next up, I do want to touch on Scott Peterson. Okay, I want to touch on Scott Peterson. And Scott Peterson was the husband to Lacey Peterson, who went missing, I do believe, in December of, was it 2002? I believe they said 2002. She went missing. Okay. And months later, she was, let me say this, she was 8 months pregnant. She went missing, I think, somewhere around Christmas time. Okay, of 2002. Her body was later found, from my understanding, I believe in April of 2003. It was washed along the shore, not too far from where her unborn son's body was found. Okay. Now, a lot of people believe that Scott Peterson did this. So he ended up being charged with the murder and 2 counts of first degree murder for his son, as his unborn son, as well as his wife at the time. All right. He ended up being charged and found guilty in 2004 of 2 counts of first degree murder. Right. Well, he has always attested the fact that he has been innocent this entire time. He's like, I'm innocent, I'm innocent, I'm innocent. Okay. They like, we don't believe you. You need more people. How the media painted him out to be definitely was given this man did the time. I mean, I think they even said this man had a mistress. I believe his friends have come out and may have spoken against him. So a lot of things did not really look good in the favor of Mr. Peterson. Well, fast forward to this year, or maybe last year, but we're finding out about it this year. The LA Innocence Project, who dives deeper into people's cases to find them innocent, okay, is getting behind him and supporting his claims. And they're saying that there is like substantial evidence that was not included or something like that. So they are believing that, let me read. They said the LA Innocence Project said in court filings that new evidence now supports Mr. Peterson's longstanding claim of innocence. All right. They're also looking for particular records that are missing. Okay. And I believe that those were records from either a court hearing. I think it was a court hearing that they had. They're looking for certain discovery that is nowhere to be found at this time. So I don't know, but like I told y'all before, they better hope that this man is not innocent. Because if this man is innocent of this crime and his conviction gets overturned, he is coming for all of y'all. All of y'all raggedy motherfuckers, okay? He's coming for all of y'all. Now, I want to get into the reason I'm bringing this up is because his sister in law, the woman that happens to be married to his brother, whom at first, when they said sister in law, I was thinking maybe one of Lacey's family members, but it's the one that's married to the brother. She has always believed that Scott was innocent. She says that let me scroll down just a little bit. All right. So they're saying that Janie Peterson, okay, this is Scott's sister in law, the one that's married to the brother. She says that Lacey was not killed on Christmas Eve of 2002, but she was actually killed later. And I'm wondering, how do you know that information? How do you know that information? Did you find this information out based on how decomposed her body was? Or what was the case? How would you know this? Okay. So Janie says, from what it looks like, there's evidence that was completely ignored that shows Lacey was alive after Scott left for the day. Okay, she says, but also there was no evidence that he had anything to do with what happened to Lacey. And this is what the sister is saying, and it seems like the LA people are backing what she's saying because they also believe it too. They say, however, Janie says that being an adulterer does not mean that her brother-in-law is a killer. Just because he was out here cheating on Lacey doesn't mean that he was out here that he was the one that killed her. Okay. Um, I believe they said Amber Frey was the woman that he was cheating with. He ended up having some type of affair with or whatever. But that's what's going on. The sister-in-law has always believed that he was innocent, and you have the Innocence Project on his side. Here's the thing for me. I got a chance to check out this documentary called American Nightmare on Netflix, and it was about this woman who was kidnapped from her home and held hostage for about 48 hours. She was actually, I don't even think it was her home. I think it was her boyfriend's home. But they were at the house one night. Lights went out. They were getting ready to go to sleep, head to bed. Next thing you know, they were woke up by this strobe light and all of that. And I believe it was more than one individual that was in the home that ended up taking her. Okay. The boyfriend ended up being zip tied on the ground. He was never harmed, from my understanding, but the girlfriend was taken away and held hostage for 48 hours. So he went to the police, telling the police everything that happened, but the police did not believe him. Details in his story, and based on how things panned out, it was not believable for the police. So the police began to set up this play where they were trying to make it seem as though he was the one that actually harmed the girl. So he ended up lawyering up because he started noticing, like, y'all trying to pin this shit on me and I ain't doing that to her. I want y'all to find her. So I'm trying to tell y'all everything. I think they had that man in at the police station for like 19 hours, they said. 17 or 19 hours just questioning him over and over, and he's retelling the same damn story over and over and over and over again. And I feel like that's not, they need to figure out a new tactic when it comes to that. They need to figure out a new tactic, because I feel like these are the ways that people are coerced into telling a story that's not true in an effort to try to go home. So they need to do something different. But anywho, that man stood 10 toes down in what he said because he did not harm her. Meanwhile, while they over there trying to pin the murder on him, the man, somebody else has the woman, has the guy's girlfriend, and has raped twice. Okay, at that point, he gave the boyfriend specific instructions, told him not to go to the police or this or that. What happened? The boy went to the police anyway. Okay, her dad found out what happened. Her dad was begging and pleading for her to come home and find out where his daughter was. This man was so much of a creep that he showed her the video of her dad pleading for her to come home and letting her know that they're still looking for her and stuff. So then the dad was like, so then the kidnapper was like, oh, we got to get a proof of life or whatever. So he records an audio message of her saying, hey, my name is such and such. I forgot, it was I forgot her first name, started with a D, I think. Denise Hutchins, I think was her name. And she was like, my name is such and such. Yes, I was indeed kidnapped. These are some of the things that for you to know that this is actually me. This was my first concert. This is the most recent events that's been going on, yada, yada, yada. He took the audio message and he sent it to the boyfriend, or I think the boyfriend or the dad. And then Eventually, once he saw the daddy pleading for his daughter, he decided to release her and let her go. Okay, he ended up violating her sexually and then recorded it and said that he had to do it, I guess, because her boyfriend didn't follow the rules or something. So he ended up violating her and he recorded it. And then he said something like he needed her to act like she was really into it or whatever the case was. It was real weird, right? A lot of things she didn't do, like scream, fight back. A lot of things she didn't necessarily do. He ended up releasing her, and when he released her, he told her, you're gonna have to talk to the police. When you talk to the police, don't tell them about the RAPE, and also when you don't tell them about that, but then don't tell them that I was in the military or something. It was like real weird. Okay, he said, I'm gonna get you out the car. He let her out the car. He says, don't move until you hear the car driving off. She was so scared that she didn't even lift up her goggles or or the tape or take whatever was off her eyes just so she could see at least the license plate. But there were certain key things that she did have and that she paid attention to that she was able to give to the police once she came home. Because she came home and she just walked home like nothing happened. And he kind of made me think of Carly Russell. But because she walked home like nothing ever happened to her, people started to believe that she was out here lying about her story. The only difference is when I think of Carly Russell admitted that it was all a hoax. Whereas with this woman, she stood 10 toes down like this SHI happened to me. Okay. But when she got in there, because I believe they called and said she needed to get a kit done on her, an SA kit. And they was like, well, before she gets this kit done, we need to talk to her. So they wanted to talk to her, but everything they was asking her didn't seem like they were really believing her or whatever. So they didn't seem like they were really believing her story, but they ended up getting the kit done, got the kit done. The nurse proves with the details that she captured that this woman was likely violated, you know what I'm saying, in the past, 24 to 48 hours or whatever, and they still was not believing it. They even went on record on camera to say that pretty much it was coming off as a hoax and that Miss Hutchins pretty much owes everybody an apology, this, that, and the other, because they wasn't really believing her story. But the husband and them stood 10 toes down in everything. Okay. Long story short, the guy committed another crime somewhere else, and then this other investigator with a whole different police department started to do a spiral of research. When he tried to snatch another girl up out her home where her parents were, the daddy attacked him and he ended up leaving a phone behind, and that's how they did the research to find out who this man was and all the different places he may have hit. Okay. I believe his name was Matthew Moeller or something like that. So what they learned about him was that this man actually went to the Marines and he was a Harvard law school graduate, and he looked like a normal man walking down the street. You wouldn't think that it was him. And I'm like, but that's the thing though. We've always tried to paint people out that commit crimes to look a certain way when they really look like everyday fucking people. That's the problem. Okay. So even when she called the investigator that found out who it was, called and said, hey, I got details, called the police station that Hutchins originally went to and said, hey, I got information that could probably help with your case. They said, well, we ain't got it no more. You might want to call the FBI. Even when she called the FBI, they seemed to be a bit nonchalant. And even the FBI was a part of, having the man go and do the press conference, whatever detective or sheriff or whatever do the press conference and make Denise Hutchins out to be like this horrible person or whatever. Moral of the story was we ended up finding out that she was indeed violated. They ended up finding the guy. And because the police department, FBI, whoever went on record trying to paint her out as to be a liar and saying that her hoax was her kidnapping was a hoax and pretty much defamed her character, her and her husband sued the dog fuck out of them. And I believe they won a few millions of dollars. Okay. I think this was like back in 2015, 2016 or something like that. So everything that they said happened to them. And then the other part was other women had similar stories in different places. Yikes. Okay. So they sued the dog fuck out of their ass because y'all should have never went on record saying what y'all said about them people. Right. So this is what it makes me think of when I just gave y'all the whole rundown about American Nightmare. Y'all can go and watch it. It's like it's like a docu-series, kind of 3-part. It's only 3 episodes, so y'all can go check that out. But as I'm listening to this Scott Peterson situation, I'm not saying Scott did not do this to his wife, because I honestly do not know what the hell Scott did. But when I hear this white lady story over here on American Nightmare and how y'all are focused on getting a suspect so bad to make y'all police department look good, and y'all are just willing to, you've already created your own narrative in your head and you just need people to agree to those parts so that y'all can look good. Listen, it can definitely backfire, and it may not backfire in that moment. It may take some time to backfire, and I'm just, y'all better hope that this man is not innocent, because if this backfires on you motherfuckers, girl, I can imagine, because this right here was like a super big case when it came down to this Scott Peterson thing, and he's always stood 10 toes down in not being the person that unalived, his wife. And even then, did y'all even investigate the woman, excuse me, he was having the affair with? Because she could have had some involvement as well. Ain't no telling. I don't know if she did or didn't, but did y'all properly investigate her? Because sometimes, i.e., when I think about the Jonathan Majors case, y'all will be aware of what another person has done, and y'all was, sweep it under the rug. Or not even sweep it under the rug, just sweep it in the dustpan and put the shit in the trash because you don't plan on doing anything with it. You see what I'm saying? Because even though Jonathan Majors was on trial, or was charged with whatever he was charged with, the girlfriend definitely should have been charged with some shit too. And y'all didn't even charge her. You know what I'm saying? Y'all charged him for a lot of things, and a lot of what their case was, the DA's case. A lot of what y'all case was about the shit that happened inside the car, not so much as the shit that happened outside the car, but more so things inside the car that we don't have full evidence of. But y'all took her word for it, and y'all decided to press charges against him. So then, why not also have charges pressed against her based on the things that he said that she did to him, and y'all don't have proof of that either? But he had markings just like she had markings. And then you also have a driver that is being a witness to his side. Like, nah. So we just see how y'all move in these streets when it comes to some situations. And again, I am not supporting Scott Peterson because I don't fucking know. I'm just merely listing the possibilities that, girl, these people could have got it wrong because they were so focused on getting somebody for this crime. And that's exactly what they did. They got the closest person to her, not thinking about whether it could have been a serial killer in the area, whether it could have been somebody else that could have been mysteriously targeting her. And this person could still be out there the same way that man, Matthew Moeller, was still out there, the same man that harmed Denise Hutchins, and I hope I got her first name right, and then also went around the community in other, counties or cities or whatever and harmed other women. Okay? So that person could potentially still be out there, or the person could finally be locked up, that had a connection to do with this if it wasn't Scott. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this case is going to play out, because girl, y'all better hope. Okay, either way, honey, good luck. All right, lastly, I want to touch on Kevin Hart and the situation he has going on with Tasha K, because right now Kevin Hart, first of all, backstory. Okay, Kevin Hart sued Tasha K, all right, for it was like a civil lawsuit for a civil extortion or something like that. He sued her for extortion and also defamation. Right, not only did he sue Tasha, he sued an ex-assistant known as Maisha Stokes. Okay, now, with Maisha Stokes, she did an interview with Tasha K. She spilled a lot of Kevin's tea. Tasha K released this interview, but before she released the interview, she also released a teaser. And Kevin's team is alleging that Tasha K had someone from her team call him and demand so much of money if he did not want this interview to get out. All right. They're also pinpointing certain things that was said in that teaser, which leads him to believe that, yeah, this had to be one of Tasha's actual team members, because you guys are kind of like giving hints, okay, about certain stuff as far as, the extortion is concerned. So he decided to sue both of them: defamation, extortion, all of that. All right. So with that happening, Tasha K doesn't seem to be bothered. Okay. Just another page in the book, honey. What else is going on? And the interview that she released, the full interview, is still up, from my understanding, on her website, according to, Kevin Hart. So now Kevin Hart's team they're demanding that the judge give them a restraining order. Okay. So he wants a restraining order so that he can make Tasha take the documents and stuff down, the video down from her page. Let me see exactly what they Did they say it here? Yeah. So he wants the court to grant him a temporary restraining order that would force Tasha to take down the video, okay, of the interview that she has with the assistant. He pretty much says that it's affecting his career, and I'm like, is it affecting your career? Because when Cat Williams came out, you definitely was out here promoting your shit off of the strength of Cat. That's what you was doing. But it did kind of make sense where he was coming from in a sense, okay? Because he goes on to talk about how he is a part of a lot of like big time shows and stuff. He says that working in the entertainment industry, his livelihood depends on a large part of his reputation, okay, and the public's perception of him. He says that perception is of particular concern in light of the fact that I am involved in a number of family oriented projects, okay? Jumanji, Secret Life of Pets, and quite a few others, okay? So because of that, he's like, this is damaging. I don't necessarily believe that. I don't. I'm having a hard time believing that it's actually damaging his career and stuff like that. But it could lead to that. You know what I'm saying? But I also feel like when a lot of these allegations came out about you based on what the assistant said, it never slowed. Like before the assistant even speaking, these allegations came out about you from just merely people just talking in comment sections and all of this other shit. It didn't slow your career down then. So now you want us to believe that now that this assistant has come out and she's speaking, it's slowing down your career in some capacity. It's affecting your career in some capacity. He could be right. I'm not there. I'm on the outside looking in, but I do have a hard time believing everything that he's saying, okay? But we just gonna have to see. The judge has not made a decision on the temporary restraining order just yet. We do know that a cease and desist was sent to Tasha by way of his attorney, and you know what Tasha does with the cease and desist, because clearly the video is still up and has yet to be taken down. I'm sure the judge is going to make a final decision by the end of the month on what he wants Tasha to do, or shall I say whether he's going to even approve the temporary restraining order or not. Okay, so we'll have to wait and see. And also, once this temporary restraining order, if it is granted, I'm interested to see if Tasha's gonna really honor it and take it down at all. You know, um. So yeah, we gonna see, honey. Cause some part of me is like, you don't get to sue me and then think I'm gonna take this shit out. I'm just gonna leave it up, like it, But then honestly, it's because of the extortion. Like that's the biggest thing as to why he's suing her. But if somebody is defaming your character, you're like, yeah, you don't want that shit up. Take that shit down. Okay, so I wonder if Tasha's gonna try to be like, I'll take it down if you do this. But it seems like he's not even trying to bargain with her at all, which is why he is going through the courts the way that he is, because that temporary restraining order is going to force that. Because I think Megan Thee Stallion even had to get like a restraining order against her label at the time just so she could release a project. I didn't even know you could get restraining orders for those things. And now hearing that you can get a restraining order to force somebody to take down some content that you feel is defaming you and stuff. I didn't know you could do that either. So that's interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that situation is going to play out as well. And what I don't know, but I would like to know, is whether Tasha's attorneys have responded to Kevin Hart and his attorneys when it comes to this overall civil extortion lawsuit, is what I'm wondering. But that's really it, girl. I just came to run my mouth, chit chatty patty with you guys real quick. So you guys go ahead and hop down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts about this Tasha K, Kevin Hart situation. Scott Peterson, whether you believe he's innocent. Also, have you seen American Nightmare on Netflix? Share your thoughts and comments down below. And also let me know your thoughts about Lorenzo Gordon likely doing jail time, girl, because he too was out here committing frauds according to the feds. All right, but that's all that I got. I am JamiThatsMe. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share my videos. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JamiThatsMe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Coming, I swing it like soldier rag. Leading my people like quarterback. Boy, I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check.